Good morning.
Good morning, my Lise. How are you today?
I am good. How was your weekend?
I had a great weekend. It was quiet. I took time to kind of, resource,
Recharge?
slow down, recharge, slow down. I'm reading a great book that was given to me by my son's girlfriend, and it's just terrific. So I kind of immersed myself in that book, and yeah, just took it easy all weekend.
Well, mine was the opposite because my daughter came home for a surprise visit for a few days. So she helped me with the Sika deliveries last week, and we hung out for about 3 days and took her back to the airport Saturday. So it was nice and busy. It was nice. It was busy, but it was good to have her home. But I do want to let people know that the Seeker is now online. So as of the first of every month, you can go on our website and once again read it online. But
And
that
right
does,
here, there's a QR code, right? I'm trying to go near the, okay, yes. So right above me here, there's a
yep,
QR code. And if you scan the QR code, you can read the
the
latest
latest.
issue. I am kind of slow today. Like it seems like my lips aren't moving with
Yeah,
my mouth. I don't know
yeah,
what's up with that.
yeah, I see that from here. But I also want to let people know, so it goes on our website on the first of the month, but that does not mean it's in distribution. So the best way to know when I'm distributing it is to go on our group, and when you see the banner at the header banner change to the new issue, that means it's out. So, because I know a lot of people have been going to our distribution box and looking for it and this and that. So the best way is once I change that header banner, then it's in distribution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, listen, folks, I'm going to do my best to keep up, and um, we're still getting used to this software. I've noticed last week that the comments that were being posted on Facebook were not being received here. So, I'm going to have my phone, and I'm going to be following on my phone to see if I can there questions ready, because today we have with us Dave Kuhn, who's the waste management supervisor in the environmental services of the city of Cornwall, and he's going to be answering all our questions about the grain bin. I know that I've seen a lot of activity on social media. There was a lot of confusion, it seems,
Yep.
or like questions about what goes in it, what doesn't. So we have Dave with us today. Hi,
Good
Dave.
morning,
Hi,
everyone.
Dave.
How's
So
everyone
I'm
today?
I'm gonna remove myself and put myself back because I want to try to have you in the big square. So let me do that. Do this. No, this and this. There we go. That's better.
Perfect. Awesome.
Good morning. How are you today, Dave?
We're doing good. No, good for a snowy Monday morning.
Yeah, but it is nice and refreshing out there.
Well, I don't mind the temperature. It's better than that minus 15 or so with 20 with the wind chill that we had last week. So I'll take this.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely. So, lots of questions coming in for the green bin. It's uh, it's just um, people are slowly getting used to doing what they need to do, and finding out what they need to do. So, the first questions that we received was. Why is this being implemented right now? Why did the city decide to go and get green bins? Was the decision environmental only, or was it like to extend the landfill? Why is this being given to citizens now?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question, Julia. It's a question that we've received quite frequently throughout the rollout, and like the months leading up to the implementation of the green bin program. So it was a provincial mandate, so it's legislated by the province. Municipalities population greater than 20,000 people had to implement the green bin program. But that also stems to environmental objectives by the upper levels of government too, so the province and federal as well. We know that our organic waste and what we take in the green bins makes up about 40 to 45% of our total waste stream. So by taking that material out of our regular garbage, it keeps it out of the regular landfill site. It preserves capacity of our landfill site, which everyone has heard about that we're nearing the end of the life capacity of that facility, and it's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars by the time the dust settles to source a new one or to close the current one. It's just a huge piece of infrastructure that's very costly to close. And the other environmental objective is that the main contributor to the landfill gas and the methane generation at landfills through anaerobic digestion is methane. It's organics that creates it. So by taking the organics out, using that as a beneficial end-use product, in this case, GFL at Moose Creek, who has our processing contract, is processing that material, and they're turning it into a class AA compost, which is then purchased by stores and sold in stores all over Ontario and Eastern Canada, versus just letting it decompose naturally at the landfill site and generating methane and harmful GHG emissions.
All right.
Okay.
Now I've got a quick question before we move on. I live in South Glengarry, just outside of Martintown. So you're saying this is provincial. Will it ever be implemented where we are? Because right now we're still with the recycling and garbage. We don't have a composting system right now.
Yeah, and that's a great question too, Mealy. Obviously, there's a strong want. Right, there's many residents that live in the smaller counties want to participate in this program. It's not legislated by the province yet, but Cornwall wasn't legislated by the province where larger municipalities were. So the province, the step that they took was to start with the Torontos and the Ottawas, and keep stepping down as the population density became lesser. Those like Cornwall's, we're at the end of it. Like population's higher than 20,000. Where Ottawa, they've had it for years. Toronto's had it for years because they were mandated way earlier than we were. It's obviously an expensive program to run, so it's tough, especially around the COVID years, to implement this program when everyone's struggling. The costs are rising. Cost of living is rising. Cost of doing business for the city is rising. It made it challenging for us to do as well. But for the counties, there's nothing written yet by the province that they're going to have it soon. But eventually, I do think that that's the direction that the provincial government is going. So eventually, at some point, whether it be in 5, 10, maybe 15, hopefully not 20, because there is definitely an appetite for residents from the counties to participate as well. I'm not sure. But the lay of the land, the province wants to get to, and the federal government want to get to a totally circular economy by 2050, and that's a big player and what contributes to that.
Yeah, my daughter lives in Calgary, and they've had the green bin implemented since she's been there for the last 7 years. She was commenting though, because their green bin, they have a green bin, a black bin, and a blue recycling bin, and they're like humongous bins. You have to wheel them to the road, and she was saying ours look so cute and small. How are we going to fit everything in those? That was kind of her question.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions that I've received, is that if they find that their green bin is too small, is there a way to get a bigger one?
So there's a couple of different ways that residents can purchase a second one. I've spoken to quite a few people that are ecstatic to use this program for their pets, and especially if their dog, their dogs go in the backyard, they pick up the dog waste outside. Some households have chosen to purchase their own bin specifically for outside for the dogs, and then they just have a bin for the dogs and then a bin for the kitchen waste. For Calgary, they do have big bins, but they also do bi-weekly collection during the winter. So us, we're doing weekly collection, so
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit easier. The bins that we purchased, we identified through other cities. The city of London used the same ones. The city of Kawartha Lakes, they purchased the same bins as well. So there are some places that use bigger bins, some places that use smaller bins.
Okay.
Some places have bigger bins because they do bi-weekly collection. That was something that we were adamant that we didn't want to explore, but we think being the nature of the waste, weekly has to be collected weekly. So that's why we chose these. If somebody did want to purchase a second bin, they're free to do so. And we do have a limited stock of the very, very large bins that we're honoring to swap out as a 1-for-1 change for large families or large generators. They are about 6 times bigger than the ones that you receive. So they are quite large and cumbersome. There's already people.
And is there a cost to swap it, or is just
no, like we're
first come, first serve?
Yeah, so first come, first serve, Julia. We don't have an infinite quantity of them, and we need to reserve some for future business expansion and whatnot. So right now, we've swapped about 30 or 40, and we're just we're not charging for the extras. We're just swapping it out. The costs were comparable because we bought in such a large bulk, so we're able to do that for right now.
Yeah, before we do have a question, but before we move on, I know my daughter was saying because they end up putting lawn clippings and yard waste and everything in their bins. What happens here? Do we put that in our little bin, or can we still put out brown bags with yard waste, like lawn stuff?
Yeah, no, for sure. We've received that question quite a bit too, because if anyone noticed on their calendar, it no longer has leaf and yard waste identified as a separate collection collection schedule. So we used to do about 23 weeks of the year where we offered a separate truck that went around just strictly leaf and yard waste. So with the new green bin collection, our processing facility are able to take a commingled organic waste. So that's food waste with your garden brown waste. So we'll collect it together. And the thoughts are with these little bins that this is mostly for kitchen organics. And then if you are cutting the grass or raking the leaves or doing some gardening outside, you can continue to use your brown leaf bags, or you can also use reusable garbage containers as we have in the past as well. That doesn't change. The only thing that changes is now it's a 52-week collection instead of 23 weeks for the leaf and yard waste. So no more bi-weekly collection during the summertime either, which will make a lot of folks happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I see a question. Somebody in the listeners' audience is asking, are there any restrictions for the green bins, like cardboard or meat?
So I mean, there's not really any restrictions. The papers that everyone would have received with their little kitchen bin, that list is directly from GFL. That's the list that they gave us on what they're able to accept. So meat scraps, for sure, put those in. Those I would wrap them in, newspaper or something, just so it doesn't smell up the bin in the summertime. But there's no restrictions on that. For cardboard, we do take cardboard in the green bins, but if you're getting boxes from Amazon or packaging, then still put that in your blue box program. But if you're getting like a Cornwall pizza, like a Widowmaker special, where the bottom of the box is all, what it looks like, where the box is about to fall out. So the bottom of the box for that is definitely able to be composted. So typically what we do in my household, and I don't try not to get Cornwall pizza that often because I don't need the extra pounds, but I take the top off of the box and I recycle that, and then the bottom of the box with the pizza juice, as I call it, the Cornwall pizza juice, I put that in the green bin.
Okay. So I do have a question that came in on Facebook, so I'm watching my little phone here. The question is, if the green bin gets damaged, usually the guys picking them up are too rough, are we responsible to buy a new one?
So similar to the garbage and recycling programs, the collections contractor is responsible for bins that are damaged during collection. So if it is damaged during collection, then it's definitely replaced, and it's not replaced by the city, it's replaced by the contractor. So that holds the collection staff accountable. If they break it, then they have to replace it. So it makes them a little bit more accountable. Now, if you put it out and a snowplow runs it over, then Municipal Works will be responsible for replacing it. And if you drop it down the stairs and break it, well, unfortunately, it's the householder that's responsible at that point. But for everyday use in collection, we know that they're going to break. They're plastic, especially when we hit that minus 40 days. Plastic gets brittle.
They're brittle.
We know they're going to break. We bought some extras for that. The contractor has an inventory in case they break them during collection. So if they do break, then just call us or call our contractor E360 directly. You'll be put on a list and we'll make the swap out for you.
Okay. So next question.
So what happens if someone uses black bags or if they use clear bags and fill it up with food scraps and recyclables?
That's one of the most questions that we've received too. So right now we're in the soft launch phase of the clear bag collection program. So currently you're allowed to use black bags to use them up. It's not an extension on the implementation. We've always included a soft launch phase with our rollout. We think it's important. People's garbage still gets collected. And it also gives us a chance to discuss with the residents. So now I wouldn't recommend using black bags or not participating in the green bin program until April 1st when the actual hard enforcement comes. You should get used to it now, because as of April 1st, and to answer the question, if there is a 10% threshold or more of organics or recycling, hazardous waste, or something that's not supposed to be in the clear bag program, then it'll be left behind and tagged. Now, left behind and tagged, like we're pretty willing to accommodate people too. So if there is something that you weren't aware of, then we can make sure it's collected the next week, provided that the issue is remedied. But that's kind of the idea with the enforcement. So if it's not collected, then it gives us a chance to also discuss with the residents on why it wasn't collected, and hopefully rectify it for the week after.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one question somebody in my family had too. So it's a soft launch right now. They put out their garbage in a black garbage bag, as did a few other people on their street. The black garbage bags were left behind. The recycling got taken, the green bin got taken, and their black bag got left. Why? Yeah,
so they shouldn't have. They're picking up the garbage from what I've seen in like my neighborhood and driving around. They are picking up. I can't speak on why a specific address was left behind. It could have been because it was too heavy, or there's other issues on why it could be left behind.
Actually, the bag was so tiny because they don't have too much garbage waste. It was really small, but it wasn't only theirs. Like there was a few up the road. The crows got into it. Somebody drove over it, but there was like about 4 houses that it wasn't picked up.
Yeah, I can't. I can look into it if that specific area or that resident wants to reach out to us. We can look into it. Typically, when our contractor leaves something behind and they've willingly left it behind, it wasn't just strictly an oversight on their part. I mean, they're human too; they make mistakes. But if it is left behind for a reason, we have a tracking system that records the reason why it was left behind.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, they picked mine up. Like I had black bags because I couldn't find clear bags. Like the shelves are empty everywhere you go now. Like you can't find the darn thing. I had to order them on Amazon.
Yeah, it's kind of been like toilet paper during the pandemic, clear bags.
Right, the suppliers are gonna stock up on them eventually, I guess. But anyways, moving on.
The only thing is like the clear bags and the biodegradable bags that have to go in the green bins and whatever, that's an extra cost to residents. And I'm sure some that just can't afford it. What happens in that case?
Yeah, and you don't have to use the bin liners. I find they're the best. The best way to do it, if you are going to purchase the bin liners, they come in a box of 125, and they're the ones that line the small kitchen bin inside the house. You can find those for about 10 cents a piece, and you go through like maybe 2 or 3 a week. I know our family, a family of 4, that's what we do. And my kids don't always eat everything on their plates, so it fills up probably faster than many would. Where the large bin liners are more expensive. They're about $7, and you only get 10 of them, so 70 cents a piece. So what we're doing in my household is we're just using the smaller ones. I fill up my little kitchen catcher bin. I tie it really tight. That way no flies can get into it in the summer. And then I put those loose right into my green bin. Another option is that once we get once people get their flyers, the Seaway News comes around in the ad bag, and whatever newspaper that you get, you can actually line your green bin with that, and then you scrunch all that up and you put that into the bin, and then that'll help as well. You don't need bins at all. Right now in the winter time is probably the worst time for it because it tends to freeze if it's put in loose, as we've seen a little bit over the last week and a half. So there was a gentleman on social media that had a good idea to actually take a newspaper and scrunch it up, or a flyer, and bundle it up into a ball, and that just makes it so it can't freeze directly to the bottom of the bin, and it's easier to slide out. So that's an option. And then some people have from all over Ontario that have moved to Cornwall recently who love this program are kind of throwing tips and tricks into the comment sections too on some of our socials. So some people spray their bin out with cooking spray a couple times a year, and that helps everything slide out. But you don't have to use the bins at all if you don't want to. But it does make it a little bit better for, especially in the summer. I think it'll make it better. But you're free to use newspaper or cardboard to line your bin as well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, one big question: does everybody have to participate? Are there exceptions? Can you get like an exception and not do it? And are businesses also part of the program?
And also,
Yep.
Like old age homes, seniors residences, are they part of it too?
Yeah. So the program, and through the public consultation phase that we did back in, when was that, 2023, we had the open house public consultations, we had the survey that we did. There was quite a few comments on that if residents should do it, then the businesses should also have to do it. People have noticed that the businesses aren't necessarily always the best at recycling. Even it's just a black bin out to the curb, no blue box, no nothing. So the policy was extended to businesses. It was extended to multi-residential properties. And so it's everybody that receives curbside service from the city of Cornwall or brings their waste to our landfill site. The clear bag policy does apply. Now there is some places who choose to use a front end dumpster from GFL Environmental, Tomlinson's Waste Management Corporation. If they're not bringing their front end bins or their dumpster service to us, then we have no means of enforcing it. But anything that the city is responsible for, so that's all curbside collection and all landfill activity, then yes, the clear bag policy does apply, which includes businesses if they use curbside services, old age homes if they use curbside services, and obviously residential as well.
Okay. I know somebody is just saying, is my lease allowed to bring her compostables to your place? Since it's not offered in her area. So
you're welcome to bring yours to my house.
Well, you know what I do, Dave? It's because we have 7 acres of property. So basically I have a little corner. I put anything out that we have, that is waste here, like waste food, which we don't have much of. We've got our own compostables out here. They called a couple of raccoons. They come and eat it. So we're good. We're good for now.
So I have a question, and I'm very interested in that one because I felt the same way. The smaller bins, where am I supposed to keep that in my kitchen? There's no way to hang it anywhere. Where do most people put it?
Yeah, so where the kitchen bin itself is designed to be kept either on top of the counter. It has a lid that prevents any odors from coming out of it, and there's no fruit flies that come out of it with that lid being closed. Where I have it is I put it underneath my sink. So it's underneath my sink. I have like my garbage and recycling, like a little caddy that comes out, like gets pulled out from underneath the sink. I have my cleaning supplies. I had my garbage bags under there as well, and I've transferred those to my pantry now because I barely need them anymore. So now I have like the little bit of room for the kitchen bin. For the green bin, it is rated to be outside. It is rodent proof. That's why it has the locking mechanism on it. So the raccoons can't get into it. Or I always say if there's a raccoon that can open that black latch, he's been hitting the gym more than I have. So it is pretty secure. They're rated to be outside. You can put it on the balcony or by the back door, by the front door. It doesn't violate any property standards, initiatives, or for being out. And it also will hold up to the elements and the animals. So that's really the options that there is. But the small kitchen bins, we can find a place for it, right? It's not that big. It's only 10 liters. Some people are putting it in their freezers, which I think is a great idea. I don't have the room in my freezer for it, but that's an option for some folks who might have a little bit of extra freezer capacity.
In the freezer, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're saying then they put it out the morning of collection, and then that way there's no foul odors, especially from the meat products, right? It keeps everything nice and chilly, so when you put it out,
Right.
it doesn't get a chance to attract any unwanted pests.
I ended up buying another little small bin that actually hangs on my cupboards because I find like I'm lazy. I don't go to the gym, so going under my sink all the time, I find it inconvenient. So I just bought a little bin that hangs on the cupboard.
Okay.
Um. So.
I
Okay.
so I do have one.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question too. So on the flyer, it says you can put diapers in the in the green bin, but yet on the city website, it says those go in the garbage. So quite a few people are asking which is right.
Yeah,
What?
no, there was a little bit of a miscommunication, mainly with our communications department, which I'll take responsibility for that. The list that we received from GFL included diapers and sanitary products on it.
Yeah.
That's directly from the processor. Where the miscommunication came from is that diapers and sanitary products are the one item that you can put into the green bin that we're not going to enforce if it's in the clear bag garbage program. We're leaving that up to you. So we're leaving that up to the residents. If they want to put it in, they can put it in the green bins. If they don't want to, then they don't have to. I know, and myself included, I have two young boys, 3 and 6. So I'm getting out of that diaper phase, thankfully. But we use the diaper genies that had clear or blue transparent like sleeves on them. So we don't expect somebody to go out and purchase those liners and then have to go out and cut the liner into like the green bin. Or if there's somebody that has incontinence issues, then if they want to put it in a garbage can to make it so it doesn't go into the green bin, we're leaving that product totally up to the discretion of the individual residents and the individual household.
Okay.
So there's a miscommunication there. I am working with comms to get that identified, so we are going to be updating that. But it has unfortunately led to a little bit of confusion with it. But at the end of the day, if you can put it in the green bin, or you can put it in the garbage. We're going to leave it.
It's not like you can't put them in and then have a problem or an issue. It's either or. You can do whatever you want.
Correct, Julia. And we've a lot of folks have questioned if they are compostable, and the processing facility it shreds everything. So there is organic material that's contained in the actual diapers themselves, and not what they've captured, obviously, as well. Everything gets shredded. So there is some types of plastic that are in it. It all gets shredded. It all gets screened. It gets processed. It gets screened again, and then it gets processed further, and then it gets screened again. So the final product is the best product that you can possibly get from a processing facility. It's AA grade. It's the best of the best, and it's sold to very prominent retailers to include in their soil mixtures. Like store, I don't want to brand drop, but brands that are actually on the shelf at retailers across Canada use this product for that. So put them in if you want to. The way I look at it is that even if there is a percentage of the Huggies and the non-compostable, like non-organic diapers, if there's a percentage of organic material that is going to get processing 75% of the item is better than processing none of it and having the 100% of it going to landfill. So again, that item is specifically included in the list from GFL Environmental, who's receiving our material. So it is included in the program.
Yeah, because some people were concerned because there might be some toxic plastic or something in the diapers, but you're saying it's processed many, many, many times.
That's it, yeah.
By the time it gets into the soil and our vegetables, it should be okay.
And that was one of the questions we received is what happens to the waste collected. So you spoke to the process a little bit. Can you tell us more? Like where does it go? So it goes in soil, and then people buy that soil and use it in their gardens and farming, I'm assuming too.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to answer that, Julia. So it gets picked up from the curb, and then it's out of sight, out of mind from the public. So it gets brought to the city's landfill site where we have a transfer station set up. So we drop it into the transfer station, and then we fill large trailers with it just to cut down on emissions for transportation costs for going out to Moose Creek. I know Moose Creek's only 38 kilometers away from our landfill site, but if you're sending 5 or 6 trucks a day versus like 1 truck every other day, that's full, it really cuts down on the GHG emissions. So it gets brought there and gets put onto what they call the tipping floor. Then it gets loaded onto a conveyor where everything gets shredded. It shreds absolutely everything. And then it gets screened where like the lighter plastics will come to the top and get sorted out. Then it gets put into what we call tunnels, which are long rectangular rooms. Then they're about 75 yards long, and it's stacked full of compost, and it's continuously aerated by a drum that has like little kind of fingers on it that just keeps turning it every day. They're also pumping oxygen into it because it's an aerobic digestion process, which is in the presence of oxygen. They're adding water to it to speed up the decomposition process, and they're also heating it to over 55 degrees Celsius. So it kills any pathogens that are present, and it keeps it at the ideal environmental conditions to allow the digestion and decomposition process to happen as quickly as possible. After it goes through that, it gets screened again, and then they bring it to a curing area where it sits for a couple of weeks, and then they screen it again after that. So it's screened multiple times. It's completely shredded. The end product, if you look at it, it looks like topsoil. It looks like topsoil. There's no smell to it at all. It looks like it's high grade stuff. I know GFL, I think they allow residents to get some if they want it. I can confirm on that. But it is a highly sought after product. They sell it to retailers. So the large lawn and fertilizer companies actually purchase this in bulk, and then they put it into bed. They make their own mixture that has grass seed in it, some peat moss, some sand, some topsoil. They mix it all together, and the compost portion of it is composted material that comes from other facilities, but a large portion of it comes from the GFL facility as well.
So let me ask you this then. Does the city get compensated for this? Do we sell that waste to, like, does it come to our tax money? Like, does it,
Yeah, no.
line the coffers?
I totally understand. So we had done a master plan, Julia. That was the BOSMP that went through council third quarter last year, early fourth quarter, late third quarter. So we looked at all the options for processing internally. We looked at processing externally. We looked at options, every single option that there was for it. We looked at doing it internally as well. We did long-term financial forecasting for each option. And the option that was the most viable, that cost the taxpayers the least amount of money, was having it processed at a third party. We are close to GFL, and there was one in Ottawa too that was in the running for it, but we are so close to GFL that it made it the most financially feasible option. That way, we're not building millions of dollars of capital infrastructure that we have to pay back, and then we have maintenance on it. There's no additional employees that have to process the material. We don't need some like 2 or 3 people running front end loaders all day. We looked at everything. We looked at capital costs, operating costs, greenhouse gas emission generation. It was a pretty extensive study, and I think the BOSMP is on council's website. Still, it sits in the minutes there. It is a public document if anyone's interested to go really delve into the options that we looked at. But ultimately, this was the best way for us. So yes, there would have been a small revenue portion if we were doing it internally, but then you also have to market it. So there's costs associated with every step of the way. We aren't getting compensated for the final product from GFL. We're actually paying them to take it and transport it from us. But at the end of the day, it was cheaper for us to go this way, cheaper for the taxpayers, and to do it this way versus doing something internally.
Okay. There's a question here that says, does Cornwall have a plan to become a zero waste community?
So we do have a plan. It's the climate action plan and the climate adaptation plan. Our council's strategic plan also touch on these details. And that's what you're seeing with the clear bag collection. We knew it was going to be controversial, to say the least. We were looking at ways to do mandatory recycling and mandatory organics, different ways. A lot of cities have different methods of doing it. They have like a pay-as-you-throw system, like Cardinal and Cardinal just down the 401. They have a program where you have to buy the clear bags from the city or from the municipality for $2.75 per bag, and you don't get any free ones. You have to buy every single bag that you put out from them. I didn't really like that idea. We could have went to a 1 bag every 2 weeks collection. Didn't really like that idea either, especially like there's a lot of large families that rely on that weekly service, and I think it's important to offer that. And so we looked at placement of containers as a way of enforcing it too. We had a bunch of options. We gave them all to council as well. We recommended the clear bag program. It's been shown that it makes the most significant impact to the diversion rates is the clear bag program. You'll see as much as a 10% decrease in garbage going to landfills, just changing the color of the bags. It makes people more accountable and makes people think a little bit more about what they're putting into their garbage. And it doesn't cost the city any additional expenses, and it doesn't cost the residents any additional expenses. So the bags are comparable in pricing, and the collection doesn't change. So in terms of like a bang for your buck, it's the most financially feasible option to create an incentive to extend the life of our landfill and increase diversion.
So how much life have we added to our landfill with this program, or is this again something that we're going to face no matter what?
I mean, there is only a finite amount of room in the landfill site. So we have crunched some numbers, and they're very high level numbers, but with some of the other initiatives that we've done, like we've done alternative daily cover at the landfill site, that saved us significant capacity. We started charging our commercial customers the cost of doing business, which has deterred some of them to go elsewhere, which has saved us a lot of capacity. The final numbers, and we do an annual report every year that will really dictate, how well our performance is doing. Those numbers won't be available until 2026, but crunching the numbers internally, we went from like a 2032 closure date into the 2040s. So we've added 10 years on, like roughly 10 years, which is huge. So the 10 years, that gives us a longer amount of time to raise the funds for closure costs, which is about $40 million. It gives us additional time to look at other options, partnering with municipalities for possible incineration or for long-term disposal options. It gives us additional time to really, decrease the amount of waste that we're generating. So if we did have to bring it somewhere else, it doesn't cost us very much. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have our landfill, the $40 million to close it, to buy it to build a new landfill is 100 to 150,000. Or 100 to 150 million, sorry. To build an incinerator is $500 million. And to bring our garbage to, say, GFL in Moose Creek, well, you're paying by the ton there, and you got to transport it. So that's going to be a significant increase to our taxes either way. So the most financial option for us as taxpayers and residents of the city is to extend our landfill site and continue to use it responsibly, because it's money in our pockets down the road. Every little bit that we save today is money that we're saving in 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But for the black garbage bags, there was a limit of 2 garbage bags that could be put out. It looks like you can put out 4 clear garbage bags. Yep. So you can actually put out more garbage?
Yeah, well, but, Maylee, the other thing, and that's, we've been criticized on that too. You're not going to generate more garbage, right? The garbage that you generate is the garbage that you generate. So just because you're actually going to generate less garbage, because a 2-bag limit, 45% of it's organic. So in theory, you should only have 1 bag of garbage if you typically put out 2. Yeah. We're going to a 4-bag limit. It helps large families, people that have a party. If somebody bought any kind of furniture or a TV set, well, they had to go out and buy a full sheet of tags to put out 2 bags of styrofoam, right? So it's like $1.50 a tag. So it helps large families. It helps people who have a party. And also getting away from like the bag tag incentive, like with the 2-bag limit with the bag tags, really what it was is it was a financial incentive for people to recycle. What we found is that a lot of people just chose to buy bag tags and not recycle. So This also addresses that. Even with the 2-bag limit, we did a curbside audit, and I think we had almost 20% of their households weren't recycling at all, which is a discouraging amount. And that's kind of what led us down to look at options to, go to tighten the belt a little bit on what we're picking up. Could have put the bag tag prices way up. We could have went down to a 1-bag limit. We could have capped where you couldn't use bags at all, a pay-as-you-throw system where you have to pay for every bag. We looked at all that. Ultimately, it's tough times with the economic landscape in worldwide, but Canada and Cornwall and Ontario. We didn't want to burden families, so going to the clear bags was really the cheapest option for the city, and it's the cheapest option for the public as well.
Okay. There you go, Miley's.
Okay, so how do I prevent my green bin from smelling or attracting animals? And what about fruit flies?
So having your bin collected every week is important. So don't miss your collection, because especially in the summer. So obviously being collected every week is important. Using something to contain any animal fats in is important. So if you have a steak bone or chicken bones, if you don't want to use the liners, wrap it in newspaper really tightly. Some folks are putting stuff in the freezer, like I said, too. Even if it's a little compostable bag, they're putting in the freezer with some of the stuff that gets really smelly. But the fruit flies, I've been backyard composting at my house in town and I had one of the little small kitchen catcher ones for years. And as long as the lid's closed, I don't get fruit flies. I'll get fruit flies on my counter with some bananas that I picked up fresh from the grocery store, but I don't get any fruit flies from the little compost bin. So you won't get any compost. I think lining the bins is important, whether it be with cardboard, newspaper, or those liners. Having it picked up every week and making sure you don't miss collection is extremely important. And then there's other things you can do, like you can spray your bin with a fragrant smell. Tea tree oil is what somebody was using. Anything like that too, to kind of help keep the odors down. And obviously keeping your bin locked. So we had shot that video that's been on Cornwall's waste management page. We had shot that video in my house, and I'd collected, this is before the green bin program started. I was collecting for a couple of weeks to get enough to do the video with. And I had the green bin sitting by my back door, and I never really thought about it because I had the lid closed. So I couldn't smell it at all. When I went to put it out, I opened it, and I could smell it then. But you really don't smell it if the lids are closed. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to keep the lids closed, make sure it gets picked up every week, because in the summer when it's plus 40, and if you miss a collection day or two in your 3 weeks, I can see that getting unpleasant. But those are the tips that I have.
Okay. So just a quick question about the clear garbage bags. So if there's something in that garbage bag that's not supposed to be in there, will the garbage collection guy put a tag on it and let you know what it is, or how does that work if they don't?
Yeah, so for right now, even if there's something that's not supposed to be in it that we identify, like if you're using clear bags now during the soft launch phase, Mealy, we'll still collect it. Mm-hmm. We're making, we have stickers to identify, and we'll put the sticker on your blue box or your green box to let you know that there was something in it. To call us, we'll work with you on what was in it. Okay. After April 1st, it may not be collected if the threshold is over 10% threshold, which is just a visual inspection. We're not taking it out and weighing everything, right? We just don't have time for that. But if they look at the bag and you have 24 Coca-Cola cans and 2 pizza boxes and a bunch of, there was not even an attempt made there, so we would leave a tag on it and to let you know that it wasn't collected because there was stuff in it that's not garbage. And then you can call us if you're still not sure why, and we'll definitely walk you through it. But the intention is to leave it behind after April 1st.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I heard that cat litter even goes in there.
So cat litter is on GFL's paper. It says that they do not want litter waste. That is the stone dust / clay based litter, like the Simple Kitty. And I don't have cats, so I don't know the brand. I apologize for that. But if residents are using natural products, like they have litter that's made of grass pellets, wood shavings, there's walnut shells. There's about 4 or 5 different types. That is definitely compostable. So you can put that straight into the green bin, or you can put it in a compostable bag liner and put it in. But the regular clay-based litter, unfortunately, it doesn't decompose, right? The rocks don't decompose in it. The clay doesn't decompose. Yeah. So it's just contaminating the AA grade compost that GFL is producing.
Okay. So that goes in the clear bag?
Yeah, if it was the clay-based litter, then it goes into the clear bag.
Okay.
And obviously, like, you're putting like feminine hygiene products, stuff like that into the clear bag. You're not going to just want to put it in the clear bag. You're going to want to put it in what? A bag that you can't see through, or?
Yeah. So
that kind of.
Yeah, we've also included, like, so there is an allotment per household of 1 25-liter privacy bag for exactly those types of items.
Okay.
For context, a 25-liter bag is about half the size of the green bins that everybody received. So there's capacity there for any private items, right? We're not going to tell you what to put in that. It's a private bag, and that's the way it stays. But that option is there. Like, personally, for my household, we don't use one. And it's just the way it is. Like, the guys aren't looking through my garbage that close when they pick it up anyway, so we're not too concerned about it. But if there is anybody that's really concerned about it, then they can use a 25-liter opaque bag, and the size 25 liters is half the size of your green bin. Opaque is defined as anything that's not transparent, so it could be using up your old kitchen bags that you have for privacy bags every week. It could be a small black bag. Could be a grocery bag if you still have those plastic grocery bags kicking around. I know they're few and far between these days, but that could also be used. Every household gets 1 privacy bag per week if they want to use it.
Okay, but you're not given the privacy bag. You use whatever you've got.
That's right, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. That was one question.
So one of the last questions I got was, where do I get a green bin if I did not receive one? Yeah,
so if there has been a couple, some were missed, or they had they live in a multi-unit property, and it was an oversight when we had our contractor drop those bins off. So if they are missing one, then they can call us or send us an email. Probably the easiest way is to send an email. We are fielding quite a few calls the last couple.
What's the email?
The email is about as simple as it gets. It's just WM, which stands for waste management. So wm@cornwall.ca, and that comes to our waste management team. And then if somebody would prefer to call us, then our phone number is 937-1777, area code 613. So 613-937-1777. And you want to hit the option 3 to speak to myself or Mr. Filio here in the office.
Perfect. Did you have any more questions? And if you have questions, people, it's time to ask, because we're nearing the end of the show. You can type them in the comment box and we will ask them for you. Miley's, did you have any more questions?
I think I've had pretty well all of mine answered. Because I know there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people are getting upset on Facebook, and I'm sure you've had a lot of calls and a lot of emails.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to take time. And my main thing was too, like, they've got till April 1st.
Yeah.
Everything is enforced 100%. And right now there's 2 trucks that pick up, and that's every week. So there's 1 for the garbage and recycling, and 1 for the composting. Like, how is that working?
Yeah, so there was a change, and this is like another provincial change to the legislation for waste management. The province of Ontario legislated that the producers and importers of recycling products, so we're like Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, all those huge corporations, they're now responsible for running the recycling program. So it's not the city that's doing the recycling anymore. We're doing garbage and organics. And that's another reason why we've waited until 2025 to start collecting organics. We probably could have done it, in 2022 or 2023 or 24. But there's an opportunity here where recycling is coming out of our existing trucks. So we put organics into it. We're no longer paying for the recycling. Now we're paying for the organics. So rather than having a year or two where we ran 3 collection services and having our taxes spike and then kind of go back down again, we just did that master planning process, made sure we had identified all of the options, made sure it was going to be the best program that it can be, rather than running 3 programs for a year or two, having everyone's taxes go up substantially for a year or two before coming back down. So that's why we did that. So in short, there is 2 trucks now. One truck is just recycling, and that's by the province. That's the producer's program. So if your bin gets broken or you miss your collection for recycling, you don't call the city. We have no authority over that collections contractor. Now they are a familiar face. They're a local company that's doing our curbside collection, but they handle all of their calls and inquiries for recycling at like a regional facility. So it's not the local office that handles miscollection calls, but the company that's doing it are an old familiar face to us, and they know the city very well, and they're good at their jobs too. So there shouldn't be any issues.
Mm-hmm. And then the other truck picks up the composting and the garbage.
Yeah. So then the other truck, which is our yellow trucks that we've seen around for the last number of years, they're doing our garbage collection and organics collection at the same time. Which a good point, and I had a call about this just before I jumped on with you folks, is that one of the benefits with our green bin program is that your leaf and yard waste collection still gets picked up. So we have like the 51 or 52 weeks of collection. So that's huge. I think that's very important as well.
It is, absolutely. And just for people to, so it's clear, the collection day is the same for garbage and organic, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So do you have any more questions? I'm all out of questions here, and nobody is typing any questions. So I think you've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for coming to visit with us today, Dave. And we'll send you questions if we have any more.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk. It's not very often I get to kind of address the public directly, so it's a great opportunity to join you folks. And if there is any questions that do come through, that waste management email for the missed bins also comes to us for questions. Same with that phone number that I gave. Call us if you have any questions. We have a pretty good team answering the phones and answering emails. So if there's any questions at all, if you're not sure about what goes where, don't hesitate to call us. We're always available to
go to the source. Don't go to social media, folks. Just
that's the key. That's
the source.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Yeah,
thanks.
Bye.
Bye for now. Actually, that was really good, because there's, like you say, everybody's going on social media, trying to answer their own questions, making their own answers. People are getting upset. So this way we got the proper answers.
Exactly. I think it's important to go to the source and get the right answers, so this was very, very informative. I'm glad we had a chance to talk with Dave.
Yeah, no, I am too. And like I say, if there's any other questions, ask away, but ask the right person to get the right answers. I just want, I had already let people know that our current issue is now on our website. We are working on February right now. February, of course, is the Valentine's issue. So if you have anything that you want to put into the February issue, your deadline is the 20th of January. Email us at info@thesika.ca, because right now we are putting that together. And do we have any time to look at a few events, Julia, or not?
Yes, you do. Before we do, I just got it's Facebook is wonky for some reason. I'm getting questions now that were already answered, and but I'm not sure where they came from. Anyways, somebody was talking about an app that you can download called Recycle Coach. So for anybody out there, if you want to download that app, that could help you with what goes in there, what doesn't go in there, etc.
Yeah.
So events.
My sister was showing me that app yesterday. She uses it all the time.
Cool. So events, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Wednesday, January the 15th, Glengarry District High School has an event going. Doors open at 6. There's music, a bake sale, Fun for All Ages. That's 212 Main Street North, Glengarry. Thursday, January the 16th at 8, a comedy night at Carrots and Dates in Cornwall, hosted by Dan Allaire. So that should be a good time. Friday, January the 17th, Mom and Me Yoga at the Cornwall Public Library from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Friday, Saturday 17th at 6, and Saturday, January 18th at 11, paranormal investigations at the SDG jail on Water Street. I'd,
That
I'd
sounds
love
interesting.
I'd love to do that, but I don't know if I'm too nervous to do something like that. So you can check that out. Then Friday, January the 17th at Shooter's Pub and Nightclub at 9 o'clock, London Calling. So obviously a musical event, London Vibes. Saturday, January the 19th at noon is a happily ever after wedding show in Iroquois. So
Awesome.
that's kind of what I have right now. So basically, if you have and make an event page for your event, and then that will go and send us the link, and we will put that on our online calendar on our website. I don't think they can go in and put their own events on the calendar, can they, Julia? Or
So
can
they if they post their event, if they share their event on our
group?
Facebook group,
Yeah.
so it's called the Local Seeker Community Events and Happenings.
Mhm.
If you become a member of that group and then share your event, your Facebook event to that group, it will automatically be fed to our website as well. So if you go on our website and you click on events, you'll see there's a calendar of everything that's happening. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the most comprehensive calendars out there. So you'll see everything that's happening. And we still miss some stuff. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
Yafa was out and about and she went to the opening of this awesome Italian cafe. I was so thrilled because I saw her post and I ran right away, went to check it out, and they have cannolis and they're just as good as in New York City. So I was really thrilled. But I snatched the last two cannolis. They were so busy,
I
so busy.
saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that. That's at Leduc Shopping Center on 11th, right?
yes, it is. And so they had I think there's
Corleone's
Cornies,
Cornwall.
exactly. And they specialize in sandwiches. So, like
Oh,
Italian sandwiches, that's their, but they had tiramisu and they have four kinds of
oh.
cannolis, and the cannolis were just out of this world. Authentic, very authentic. So,
Yeah, it looks like all the decor is very authentic too,
yeah,
with lobsters and everything. It looks like an
yeah,
interesting place.
yeah,
Yeah, we missed that one. So please, folks, if you have events, put them on our group and then
yeah,
it'll fit to our calendar. And then what happens is when we put the monthly print issue together, we take the events from that calendar to put them in the events and happening section
yeah,
so that we can advertise them for you.
exactly.
And like I
So,
say, right now, send anything in that you want into the February issue because that's what we're working on right now.
all right. Well, I guess that's it for us for today. Join me and Mateo on Wednesday as we restart the Keeping It Real podcast.
Okay.
So we are going to be on at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and we're probably going to discuss some of the great movies out there with the Oscars that are coming up. And so, yeah, join me on Wednesday.
And a
So,
quick thing. I just want to let people know we are looking for guests to come onto our show. So if you would like to be a guest, or if you know somebody who would be a good guest, please let us know. Email us at info@theseeker.ca because we would love to have you on and talk to you.
so have a great day.
And a super duper week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.